Welcome to the official Sandball podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Chase, and with me I have my good friend Ross and our guest,
Hey.
Wizzy.
Hi. I'm kind of shy.
Awesome. That's definitely going to go into the podcast. So,
So sarcastic, this one.
hello there, everybody. I'm Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. Here with me today, as always, is my best friend, my brother, and my lover, Wizzy Puff.
What in the world? Okay, first of all, that was the wrong intro.
Fuck, which podcast are we recording?
This is the Fanfiction Power Hour.
Shit, so it's not the... Nah, I couldn't think of something on the spot there. So anyways, yeah, this is Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. Hello there, everybody.
You had the perfect chance to plug the Pillow Fort podcast. Ross, it's like you're not even trying to shill for the Penguin Wizards anymore. Kind of a shame.
So hey, this is Chase. Everybody say hello to Chase.
Oh, this is Chase. I've heard a lot about this young man.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
we certainly have.
he was in a fan fiction we read, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was.
It was the Christmas one with Pinkie Pie.
Yep, I listened to that episode, definitely.
You should. You're in it.
Okay, was that was there like a story about me in there, or?
Well,
Is it
okay, it
just a
wasn't
character?
about you, but the main
Okay.
character's name was Chase. And the OC kind of looked like you.
Mixed with Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, we have our first freaking guest on the podcast. Hallelujah. Although I would consider Wizzy a guest because I really am the main like guy, you know?
Yeah, Ross just keeps demoting me. At first it was like co-host, then assistant, and now it's just guest.
Oh, you're gonna get demoted to like intern or something next time.
That's better than
Yes.
guest.
Is it? I think guests get paid more than interns.
It's going to be like, this is the guy who sometimes edits the podcast, Wizzy.
But yeah. So today we're going to be reading a spooky fan fiction. We're doing this because it is raining outside and
And it's also
thundering
midnight.
and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, perfect time to do this. So yeah, we're going to be reading Eyes in the Trees, Bodies in the Leaves by the Psychopath. Doesn't that sound cute?
How wholesome.
Yeah, such a My Little Pony type thing.
So yeah, if you are scared of spooky things happening,
Oh, crud.
Oh. I hope that picked that one up.
Who's voicing who?
I didn't even know who Sweetie Belle was until like 20 minutes ago, so I'm gonna go with the side characters.
All right, cool. Perfect.
Oh, so he knows who the side characters are, just not Sweetie Belle, huh?
I just don't like Sweetie Belle, I gotta be honest.
Must have read this fan fiction before.
Yeah, he's actually read up to 90% of the fics on FimFiction.
But anyways, we've dilly-dallied enough. Let's get right into the fic. Jesus. Oh, quickly before we get into it, go down into the description below and read this for yourself if you don't want to hear our wacky antics during it. But if you're too scared, don't worry. You can stay with us. We're nice. We won't kill you. The main characters of this podcast, Chase, on the other hand, would kill you. Chapter Loyalty Can Have Consequences. Author's note. The second story in my training course of psychological horror. Feel free to share what you think is happening in the comments. Ooh.
I just
What a
might.
mystery.
Actually, I'm not even logged in right now.
Oh
Does
dear.
he have a fanfiction account?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
I do, because some stories deserved an upvote.
Alrighty then, Sweetie Belle.
Twilight started.
I've got my my saddlebags with some food, water, quills, notebooks, and ink. Everything to jot down whatever we find in the castle.
Why don't we just teleport there?
Sweetie
Because
Belle
they
asked.
Oh, sorry.
You've got to calm down, Chase.
Yeah, I'm a bit trigger happy, aren't I? Because the Everfree distorts magic, dum-dum. So we would probably end up in a rock or tree.
Twilight chuckled nervously.
I've yet to figure out why, but I'll discover it eventually.
Twilight straightened herself up and narrowed her eyes in determination.
It's only a matter of time.
Sweetie Belle and Princess Twilight Sparkle stood in front of the Everfree forest, fully prepared to reach the abandoned castle hidden within its depths. While Sweetie Belle still trembled and, on more than occasion, tried to hide behind Twilight within this massive amalgamation of plants and darkness, Twilight was used to the body of the trees. To the body of trees. As you could tell, I am continuing to nail reading. The sound of growls and chirps only emphasize the foul reputation of this place for the outsider.
It's okay, sweetie. It's just a forest.
I'm clipping that.
Calm down. Let me read the middleman first, son. Twilight reassured.
It's just a forest.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
But Twilight!
I've been there several times, and even more times with your sister.
Oh!
She recalled.
Damn, dude. Wait, is this supposed to be PG?
Sure. Yeah.
It's TV 14.
Anyways, continue.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, there was another line for Twilight. I said she recalled.
Oh, I'm obviously a professional. You don't need to worry. There are some monsters in there for sure.
Twilight shrugged.
But it's not something that we can't deal with anymore. Stay with me and you'll be fine.
What if we got professional, people who read, audiobooks? What if we got professional actors for audiobooks to
Oh my god.
come in and listen to
We
us?
could go on Fiverr.
That is true.
We could definitely try that.
Who's the guy who
Don't
did
want
the
to pay, though.
credit card scam things? Builder man needs your help.
Wait, that's an actual thing? I thought that was just a meme.
Oh, my God.
As the voiceover dude, voiceover Pete or whatever his name was the one voicing all those things.
Yeah.
And he got
God.
kicked off Fiverr.
Good. Fuck him.
What?
Wait,
Anyways.
what?
I'm kidding. Maybe.
All right, am I the one keeping us?
No, that one was on me. Twilight's glowing smile reassured Sweetie, who felt a little bit of her fear draining away. The filly gulped loudly and stayed extremely close to Twilight's hind legs, occasionally jumping in fright at the sounds of branches snapping and large creatures slithering through the trees. Thank you, God. Yes, thank you. You're very atmospheric. Said creatures didn't help the filly when they would stop and stare at the two ponies from the darkness of the trees, their glowing white eyes emphasizing their size. Sick rhymes, man. Sweetie audibly winced at them. Attracting Twilight's attention, the alicorn shooed the creatures away, and Sweetie Belle felt better for it.
See, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Twilight said.
You aren't afraid of the dark, but what's inside. And there's nothing dangerous aside from a few long hanging branches. Why, I discovered plenty of plants growing in this forest that were great at making magical potions.
Bear.
Sweetie Belle looked up.
Magical conductors?
Yes, one of them is a mushroom that looks like a thin pyramid and is quite colorful.
She giggled to herself. Let's hear that.
Wait, what?
Let's hear a giggle to yourself.
Oh, crap. I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. He. I don't know. My voice, I don't have... like, what you hear is what you get, folks. I don't have any vocal range besides the evil fidget spinner. If you're not careful while picking them, they'll blow spores onto your face and you'll look like a paintbrush sneezed on a tapestry.
Yep, tapestry.
It's a weird simile. All right.
Does it do anything else?
Sweetie pondered aloud.
No, Pinky did it several times to herself in a row because she found it funny and spread the rainbow spores across her mane to imitate Rainbow Dash.
The filly chuckled and followed her mentor quietly. The longer she walked with Twilight, the less creepy the forest became. Naturally, barely any sunlight came through the trees, but it was still there.
Keep an eye out for anything that might seem out of place here. It could be an interesting ingredient Applejack and I missed during our first few runs through here.
Alrighty.
Sweetie responded cheerfully. The search didn't leave much for the explorer's heart, although a bit of moss that Sweetie thought she had newly discovered made her laugh as the white flowers looked like butts.
Butts.
Butts. But Twilight didn't find it funny simply because she thought such a thing was so absurdly stupid.
That's what makes it funny, Twilight God.
Yeah, Jesus
Killjoy.
Christ. It took about 15 minutes of searching for Sweetie to spot a large stick jutting out of a mound of decaying wood and leaning towards the side lightly. It broke off in 2 pieces from its center, making it look like the letter Y. Its surface was riddled with black scales of dried wood and shined a bronze sheen despite the lack of any significant light sources. Sweetie was certain it was a magical object, and Twilight would be very happy if she saw it.
Twilight, I found something.
The filly eagerly announced. She hopped to the stick and grabbed it with her 2 tiny hooves to get a firm grip and pull it out. The only thing pulled out were grunts, as the stick refused to budge. She decided to go with using telekinesis, as she had gotten better with the control, and trying to pull the stick would be great training to even further improve herself.
Come on.
She strained.
Get out. Bah.
This is our main character, everybody.
I'm trying to go for something like Adam Sandler mixed with Barney the Dinosaur, and it's not turning out too well.
Not really. Oh, what's that? Is that the
Whoa, what's
same thunder from over here?
Probably.
Whoa.
Either that or
we're
you're
getting
going to
some
get
good
it in a few
ambiance.
seconds.
Sweetie Belle let go and rolled into a tree behind her. She groaned in pain and rubbed the back of her head.
Twilight, I can't get it out. Can you help me?
She asked. There was no response, and Sweetie Belle insisted.
Twilight, can you help?
She opened her eyes to see where Twilight had gone.
Twilight, where'd you go?
She asked.
Twilight, where are you?
She shouted. You know, with that voice, I'm not surprised that Twilight ran off.
Oh!
She's really doing Ponyville a service.
Just so you know, you're insulting friggin' Sweetie Belle, not me.
Suddenly, the forest started to seem that much scarier. But Sweetie steeled herself.
No, Sweetie Belle. The princess showed you that this place isn't that scary. You can find her. You can find her if you remain calm and collected.
She cleared her throat.
Ahem. You're a cutie mark crusader, after all.
She started walking through the forest, all while calling out for Twilight, but the lavender alicorn would not answer. The young filly kept peering over her shoulder to see if anything was following her, or if Twilight was behind her far away. having somehow heard the calls, but there was no such luck. Bleh.
Well, I might as well try and get out of the Everfree Forest. Twilight told me to stay with her, and since she's gone, and I don't know the way to the castle, I think this is the best thing to do.
Sweetie Belle decided. She started her...
Quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Why is the Everfree Forest used for so many creepy things in MLP?
Because the Everfree Forest is creepy, dude.
It is?
Yeah, ponies
sounds so
hate the
magical.
Everfree Forest.
Oh.
The clouds
Halloween
move
episode about
all on their own, Wizzy.
What? That's not supposed to happen.
It
Yeah,
is.
I just googled it. This looks.
It's like,
This looks like a creepy place.
scary forest and stuff like that.
Gotta be honest.
It's got like a bunch of monsters and stuff. So
Man.
I think in like season 4 it got a bit better. After season 4 it was like pretty chill, and then at the start of season 9 it went back to intense again. But
0 to 100.
but it did it mellowed out, I think, again. She started her return trip and found the path difficult, simply because, with being so small, her stubby little legs were extremely inefficient, with vaulting over rocks, hills, and falling clumps of rotting wood. Sweetie Belle started to notice some changes happening to the forest, the further she went in, however. The air gradually became damp despite the lack of mist, and the air became colder and colder. Worse still, the chirps and sounds of hunting beasts had stopped completely. That wasn't normal at all, Sweetie thought, but she did her best to remain strong regardless of the creeping fright she was feeling. As for illumination, yellow lights coming through the leaves disappeared to make way for a dark blue light that gave a gloomy look to all of these trees.
If a forest could be abandoned,
Sweetie spoke softly under her breath.
then this is certainly what it would look like.
She gulped loudly, and her breathing became heavier.
I want to go home.
She cried.
Where am I?
Sweetie Belle heard a branch creaking, and her head jolted to the left. There was nothing moving, so she took in a deep breath and reminded herself that it could just be the decay of trees. The trees, however, didn't look normal anymore, and twisted even further with the distance the filly made. Their leaves started to thin in numbers, and those that clung to their host had turned dry and gray. The bark became dark. Freaking awesome rhyming scheme, man.
This person is a SoundCloud rapper as their side gig.
Hell yeah. I want that link. I want a link to that SoundCloud. The bark became dark and ash-colored, and the trunks and branches twisted and bent sharply in many directions. Some seemed to bend directly towards the pony and followed her as she moved forward. Sweetie Belle looked to the right, and in the corner of her eyes, she saw the bark extending outward towards her. But when she looked at the trees, there was nothing. Sweetie Belle looked to her left, and the same thing happened with the trees on her left. Her heart was racing so fast, she was certain it had been replaced by Rainbow Dash. The filly galloped as fast as she could through the forest, but tripped on an outstretched tree root and landed against a tree. She curled up into a ball and hid herself from the scary things around her. For 15 minutes, one would have mistaken what was at the base of the tree to be a sentient white puffball. Sorry, I forgot to continue that. She looked up to see that nothing was around her, nor were there any sounds. Perhaps, Sweetie pondered, that the silence was worse than there being any.
Where is Twilight?
She stuttered.
I want to go home, Rarity.
I want to go home. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, that was supposed to be a whisper yell.
She whisper yelled. She couldn't bring herself to speak up. I don't know why I'm doing such a deep voice. It wasn't deep originally. It was just over time, it gradually became deeper and deeper and deeper.
Because you're just so manly.
She couldn't bring herself to speak up for more than a few murmurs and spastic stutters. She stopped all actions when she heard something stretching out to her right. It sounded like old wooden planks straining under extreme weight, but what she saw, a large malformed cylinder with a rounded top, was stretching out of the wood and moved towards the filly, inch by inch. The surface started moving and bubbling like a living creature in a sack. What kind of sack?
Burlap.
Okay. A hoof stretched out and touched the ground while the rounded dome twisted and bent, letting a right ear poke out and a bittersweet smile to grow along the bark and curl at the edges. The head turned to face Sweetie Belle, showing a hollow part of the wood that was supposed to be an eye socket, while a wood knot was in the place of the other. More cracking occurred, and the ear of a helmet started growing out of the right side of the entity. There was no movement from the figure, the wood forming its body straining against the tree itself as if it were trying to escape its confines. It exhaled loudly into Sweetie's face, and it was the only source of heat she felt for quite some time. Chase, it's your turn.
And we're back. Welcome to the official Slampball podcast. I'm your host.
Thank you. After a rousing bit of technical difficulties, we are back. So, Chase.
Pony.
It strained. Its voice was hoarse.
Horse joke.
And spoke with a whisper, decorated by the sounds of old wood cracking from rot and force. You know, I've been thinking about adding sound effects to the show. I mean, it's a weekly podcast, so fuck that, but I've been thinking about it.
I just wanted to say it should have said a little horse, and then I would have just been so happy I could die.
But it wasn't a little horse, it was just horse.
It's like pony, and then it was a little horse. It would have been amazing.
I'm not sorry about that.
Izzy, you need help.
Yes, he does. Sweetie Belle screamed at the top of her lungs. Why? And scampered to her hooves to get away from the creature that watched her before being reabsorbed by the twisted tree. You ever watch Snow White? I'm just saying.
No.
It's got like a spooky, scary scene where Snow White is scared of a bunch of trees. Coincidentally, My Little Pony also has that in the second episode when they were in the Everfree Forest. What a coincidence.
I wonder where the author got the inspiration for this.
Anyways, I think it got it like banned from Germany or something. That was fun.
What was that?
Not the My Little Pony episode, but Snow White. Sorry, I felt I should have clarified that one. Sweetie shouted.
What in Equestria was that?
A tree next to her started expanding in the same manner, but this time an outstretched branch tipped with a gray leaf was on the surface of the growing shape. It ended up being an unfortunate hindrance, coming from the chest and going diagonally through the entity's neck and out its right eye socket. A bony wing stretched out with multiple pops before the tip broke off and fell out onto the forest floor. The shadows of the forest emphasized the figure's sickly, thin form as it stretched out of its home, its movements slow and tired like an ancient equine.
Pony. Sun Tauchid. No, I'm not recording that.
I think it was supposed to be touched, but I prefer touched. Sweetie Belle's legs wouldn't obey her and only permitted her to slide back until she hit another form with the same facial expression as the very first one she saw looking down at her from above. The left side of its mouth was a large hole, while several twisted branches came from its body. A tiny one tipped with a dried leaf jutted just above the right eyebrow and swayed with every little movement the entity made. Their expressions of the beings would not change and their mouths would not move when they looked at the young filly during and after their emergence. This is not an easy thing to read.
It's just words.
Yeah, but it's
You
like...
know how easy it's been for me to read it?
It's like, what should I sound with those words? What does it want me to feel when thinking about those words, you know? These were faces she would not soon forget, regardless of age, and the horrid sounds. They felt worse to her. Their bodies cracked, chipped, and snapped with every movement they did, liberating a little bit of their bodies, but they would freeze in place just as quickly as the bark comprising their bodies crawled into the empty holes formed by any kind of activity.
Pony.
Whew, creepy. It cracked,
Crackled.
White. Like sun. The sun isn't white, stupid. It's yellow.
Dumbass.
Haven't
What a
you seen my
fucking-
crayon drawings?
Actually, I think the sun is white. I think I
Yeah,
heard that
I
on a
believe.
science show or something. Like, classic sun is like yellow looking from our point of view, but it's actually white.
Alright, I don't have a line for a while, do I?
Just for a paragraph.
Alright, well, I'm reading an article about the color of the sun real fast.
All right, well, I'll tell you when it's your turn. Sweetie Belle got to her feet, but tumbled down a slight slope and along some bizarrely dry leaves, despite the intense humidity and light mist floating in the air like flying serpents. The other trees were undergoing the same effect, with creatures of wood climbing out. One of the entity's torso was fully out of the tree, but its body was even stranger, if that were even possible. While it only had a wooden knot, honestly, this I swear, this voice is contributing to my current up-and-coming headache right now. I don't know why I keep dipping into it. Oh, where the hell was I? Shoot. While it only had a wooden knot on its ribs and an inverted wood deformity on the lower left area of its chest. Its right leg looked like bones with shredded boot on its hoof. With a shredded boot on its hoof. Just a small portion of the left jaw was exposed, as though depicting a skull as well. Chase?
Ross.
Oh, that's not the words.
You're right, the sun is white.
Fuck yeah.
Pony.
Not much of chatters, these guys. Many of them hissed.
What do you want?
Sweetie Belle blurted out. One of the entities, only an eye and a left foreleg from a tree branch, picked up a root and threw it at the little filly. She screeched and jumped away when it hit the ground just mere millimeters from her leg. The object was a pilum. Or a pilum? What is that word?
They misspelled plum.
It must have been a plum. Grew on the tree.
No, the pilum was a javelin commonly used by the Roman army in ancient times.
Oh. Well, shit. Poor Sweetie Belle. The entity threw a pilum at her, and she could do naught but stare at the weapon in disbelief.
Pony.
They all hissed in unison. Sweetie Belle took this as a cue to get the abyss out of there. Abyss out of there? What? I guess that's their hell in this fanfiction universe?
To get the Tartarus out of there.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned Tartarus in one of these things.
Yeah. I guess they, in this one, usually in fanfictions, they would use Tartarus as the hell, but, well, this might have actually been after season 8, where that would have been apt. Get the abyss out of there, and do so she did. She as far away from them as possible. Ooh, yikes. She as far away from them as I'm sorry, I don't mean to rag on you, author. You're doing this for free, and I appreciate that, but ooh, that's rough.
You just missed the word ran, come on.
And the further she went, the less of those creatures remained. Not because they were far behind the filly, but because the trees swallowed the creatures back into them.
I want to go home.
Tears streamed from Sweetie's eyes.
I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home.
My voice can't even go that high right now after my brief illness.
Rarity!
Sweetie Belle woke up in her bed, surrounded by her family.
The end. I'm going to bed. Good night.
You're wrong.
That's wrong. I lied.
Ross just wants to get out of this scary fic really quick.
I'm so scared, guys.
He doesn't know what a pilum is, and he's just...
Maybe I'll get more scared if I turn off the light.
Ooh, that was a good idea that I wish I did. Another few pilum landed in front of the filly, just narrowly missing her. These guys are terrible at aiming.
They're villains, of course they are.
I think at least one would be fine. The culprits were the same creatures, standing high above the ground on a large rock. One of the entity's head was tilted to the side and bobbing left to right, as it tried to right its broken neck. Its left ear broke off and fell to the ground, as did its left leg.
Leave me alone. Ha! Get it? 'Cause you're a tree.
Oh! The filly shouted. She ran to the right of the rock in panic, ignoring the creature on there, and hoped the exit was nearby. Hopped the exit was nearby.
'Cause she's a bunny. I didn't do anything to you.
Well, maybe Sweetie Belle didn't, but Wizzy certainly did something to me.
What is up with ponies?
I got Jerry Seinfeld in here.
Does he ever actually say, "What is up with blank"?
Probably.
I don't know.
I
haven't
watched
seen that show in forever.
quite a bit of Seinfeld recently, and I do not recall him ever saying that.
Well, in his stand-up routine.
Well, no, like usually an episode would end or whatever with a stand-up routine. So, like,
Oh, I forgot they did
I
that.
think it begins and ends with a stand-up clip.
right, begins as well. But anyways, Sweetie narrowly missed a hoof that tried to stomp on her and slid along the dry leaf. I think they just want company, honestly.
Aww.
That's my guess. Luckily, she was in control this time and managed to slow herself down to a halt. Fuck yeah, Sweetie Belle. What a badass. With her hooves. She was breathing heavily, but it wasn't from exhaustion. She was starting to hyperventilate. Aw, dog, me too.
Hey.
White like sun.
Stupid tree pony. That's not good
Yeah, the
grammar.
sun's obviously yellow. White like the sun.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention a creature whispered. My bad. It's understandable on that one because I was... But anyway, many others growled.
Touched by sun.
Do they think she's like Celestia or like Celestia touched her?
I mean, she is white.
So am I.
Yeah.
What if she goes back in time to when they were alive and becomes Celestia?
Celestia killed people, and these are the spirits of them.
That too. We could add that as well. A tree growing over the ground in an arc let loose a wooden creature onto Sweetie Belle, and scream and thrash did she get the creature off of her. It was surprisingly light, but she realized why. It had no lower torso. She bolted off, but it wasn't as easy as she thought. As a test by the most recent encounters.
Attested.
You know what, Wizzy? Why don't you read it?
As attested
You
by the
did.
most recent encounters.
Thank you, Wizzy. She dove to the ground when a short sword swung at her, and the filly managed to slide away from the threat. Good God, these people are rolling like nat 5s on their attacks. I just thought of that because of short sword, I'll be honest. The sword was made from broken wood and decayed. Ooh, I've got a great idea for a D&D character now.
Oh. Is it a pony?
It's exactly what these things are, except probably more mobile.
Trees?
Is it a dog?
Glendor the dog. The sword was made from broken wood and decayed beyond any proper recognition. Had it not been used, no pony would have ever discerned what it was for.
Touched by sun.
A creature crackled.
Return her. Okay. Give purpose. Give back.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Chase
we're
is
gonna
saying
say
more
this.
things. That's really what we're here for.
Oh. I just realized it's not touched by sun, it's touched bison. They're talking about the
Oh,
yak
crap.
people.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I haven't been reading this right, have I?
Well, there's always time to fix it. Sweetie Belle couldn't understand what they wanted, nor what they were trying to say. If it weren't for the creature's sluggish movements, Sweetie might have died as one of them swiped at the back of her neck with its sword. She stopped from terror and clenched her teeth at the realization of imminent. I know it says imminent, but I keep. Whenever I read imminent, I always think immediate. Kind of means the same thing, though.
Not really.
But it says imminent death. Then she saw a large chunk of her mane fly in front of her eyes and gently float down on the dry ground. She tapped her neck as the entities watched her, and tears began welling up in her eyes. Soon may the waterman come. A young filly shouldn't be living through this nightmare,
Wait, that's it.
she thought.
This was all a nightmare.
No, don't think that. Stop thinking that bad. Well, maybe it is, but still, it also might not be. Read a book. If you ever think you're in a dream, don't pinch yourself. Try and read. That's a little psychology tip for you. Insane chuckling. I guess she wouldn't be able to. There's not much books around, but there are trees. So she should quickly conjure up a book from the trees and try and read it. Insane chuckling followed this realization, born from the
Ha 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 ha.
desperation, then an actual conclusion.
Luna.
She cried as she bolted through the... Okay, so Chase, Princess Luna is the princess of the night, and as such, she can travel through Pony's dreams. I thought you might want to know that one.
So she's like that one episode of SpongeBob.
Yes, she's exactly like that one episode of SpongeBob. That is a perfect comparison, actually.
It's kind of creepy, though.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, you're not even... it's like she's reading your mind.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a terrible invasion of privacy, but she can pick and choose the certain dreams. And I think she only goes in to help if you're having, like, a bad dream or something. That's my guess, but I could be wrong.
Hasn't she caused bad dreams, though?
Of course she does. She's Nightmare Moon. And also Princess
Yeah,
Luna.
I mean, SpongeBob has caused bad dreams too.
SpongeBob versus Princess Luna, death battle. She cried as she bolted through the forest.
Princess Luna! I don't want to dream this anymore. Help me. Let me wake up.
She howled. A pilum grazed her right hind leg, cutting her across the fur, but it wasn't enough to stop the adrenaline coursing through the little white filly. Looking up and hoping to maybe see something that would help her identify where she was, she realized that the sky was dark as night and the moon looked like it had spiraled inwards into some sort of whirlpool. At least, that's what she thought she saw through the thick layer of gray smog hanging just below the tree vines. You know, one time I was dreaming and I was on this cliff. Someone was trying to kill me or something, and they pushed me off, and I was like, wait, this is stupid. I'm probably dreaming. So anyways, I tried to do stuff in that dream, and it couldn't happen. So I guess I fell and died and then woke up. That was a real bummer of a dream, wasn't it?
You ever have a dream where you were...
By the way, I think I figured out what's going on.
Oh.
I don't know much about MLP lore, but I think I know. Return her. That sounded a bit like an evil fidget spinner.
That's a long story, guys.
What?
That's a long story. I'm telling our audience.
At a later date, whenever you read a fan fiction with an evil fidget spinner, be sure to get me in here.
Will do.
Return her to us.
If the audience is out there, someone should write a story about an evil fidget spinner, just so that we can have Chase on the podcast again.
Maybe I could write it. You never know.
You know what? Maybe.
It would be like how Netflix has their original movies and all that. You could have your own original fan fictions.
That's a good idea.
I'll just write them all.
Anyways, more Chase lines.
Return, meaning give forever, white like sun.
Sweetie Belle
That kills my throat.
Sweetie Belle was cut on her left foreleg, rather gravelly, but she continued on regardless.
Betrayed her left to rot. Light, eternal light, night. What the heck? Night afar. Okay, I'm just gonna stop. Kill the sun.
One of them started.
Kill the sun.
Yeah, it's definitely Celestia.
Another repeated.
Kill the sun. Kill the sun. Kill the sun.
I think these are just Luna fans. That's what most Luna fans think of Celestia.
Yeah, we do. I mean, yeah, right?
Wizzy. You wouldn't.
But, like, Luna has that cool, mysterious night lady character. Celestia's just fun.
Celestia is just the best, you mean?
Oh, is that why they call her Sebestia?
Yes.
Is that why they call her Sebastian the Crab?
Yes. Under the sea. I'm not sorry. A loud exhale of cracking wood filled Sweetie's ears.
Kill the sun.
Hopefully you're not doing that loud enough to wake anybody up or anything.
Hopefully, yeah.
Sweetie
I don't think my brother's asleep though.
Hmm.
And he's the closest one, so.
Yeah, probably not. Sweetie kept going, but alas, there seemed to be no exit from this twisted trees. This twisted tree. Arthur. I think their name was Psychopath or something.
Is it possible?
The small filly thought as hope welled up inside of her.
Freedom at last? I'm free!
She cheered through her tears.
What the hell is happening?
What?
Like it says there seems to be
Oh yeah,
no exit from the twisted
That's what I was thinking.
trees. And then the next line is like, I'm free.
maybe it's screwing with her mind. Words, Ross, words. Jesus Christ.
All right.
It's screwing with her mind. Or the author whoopsied. But I'm not going to say that. Something was thrown at her legs, causing Sweetie Belle to burst out of the trees, fly a short distance, then skid along the ground, kicking up dust and dirt. Brum brum. She attempted to get up, but failed, and turned her head to look at the source of the problem. Her rear legs had been locked in place temporarily by some rope and a broken beam of wood. Sweetie could hear the cracking and reforming of the entities' bodies, getting louder, and did her best to get the object off her hind legs. She only saw it briefly, but the object was a heavily rusted shield, with only a fin of its borders remaining. There was still some blue paint remaining in the middle, but it was mostly hidden by the holes in the metal. The filly looked around and realized that she was more than wrong. She was only at a cliff leading to a destroyed castle covered in white Ooh, that's good. That's actually a good thing. You want to be there. Weirdly enough. A destroyed castle covered in white vines, with very few gray leaves growing from them. Looking behind her, Sweetie Belle could see that the creatures were still there and not leaving her alone. And in the light of the dead moon, several crescent moons marks barely a hair in size, glowing a searing white in various portions of the bodies of each individual, with one spot not being identical in location to that of the next creature. Unfortunately, the feeling of safety removed some adrenaline in Sweetie and caused the filly to feel the wound on her foreleg and collapse from the pain. She did her best to get to the rickety bridge that led to the castle and cross it. It was a foolish idea. Ichabod Crane. But it was the only place she knew was safe. And despite the weird sky and moon and its decrepit state, she was certain she would be safe somewhere so fortified. In front of the bridge were a few swords and large circular shields, larger than the previous one tossed at Sweetie's legs, abandoned by their owners, who had seen the unfortunate decay and rust of time. The shields were barely anything but thin slices of Swiss rust. Thin slices of Swiss cheese.
Delicious.
And the wood of the spears had long since broken off and left the metal tips stuck in the cliff wall and shields. The further Sweetie Belle went, the more numerous the items became. In fact, one of them was still intact enough that, despite having a huge chunk of it rusted off, displayed just the surface of a circle, and 3 waving arms allowed her to understand that that was the sun. She didn't have time to think on that, though, as the creatures were slowly moving in. The filly was thankful for the lack of trees here, although it seemed so barren. Why? The closer she got to the castle, the bigger it became. There even seemed to be a bright white light emanating from behind it, giving the area an extra terrifying look. The wooden doors of the entrance, both easily the height of a barn, were left slightly ajar, so Sweetie Belle took the opportunity to scoot through the gap. She didn't pay attention to the helmet pierced by a pilum and resting on a shield, and kicked it with her leg, moving it but also disturbing what was beneath it that responded by blasting gray and blue powder in Sweetie Belle's face.
Yeah.
The pony coughed and spat the gross powder and squeezed through the gap and collapsed on the stone ground just atop the ripped welcoming rug. The castle entrance stretched to a destroyed throne of stone, far behind where pillars and chunks of ceiling lined the pathway towards the seat of royalty. She shuddered from the cold and her fear. Her face had been completely matted with tears that continued to flow, and she started to fall unconscious. But then a loud bang filled her ears and woke her up. Sweetie's head bolted in every direction that she thought was the origin of the noise. But she knew where it was coming from, and slowly craned her neck towards the doors she squeezed through earlier. The horrible creatures were there, their legs trying to get through the door.
Pony. Well, I just remember I stopped doing the voice. White like sun, return her, betrayed her.
That's so weird how Chase wasn't even actually reading the fic. He just guessed what they were going to say.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's very repetitive.
Sweetie Belle stared at the creatures, then noticed their legs moving away. There was now silence for a few seconds, but Sweetie felt like she had died several times in that interval. Through the silence, steps sounded. A head with a wooden knot in place of the left eye walked in front of the gap and disappeared before returning to the gap to look at Sweetie Belle with its empty eye socket. Or with its empty socket, I guess. I'm just assuming it's an eye socket, but it could be something different. There was a long moment of silence during the stare down, but Sweetie Belle was the only one to break as the creature's empty eye socket, I guessed correctly, was slowly filled by a bright green
Man, here I was guessing it was going to be a wall outlet.
By a bright green light that hummed louder and louder, to the point of nearly bursting the glass windows in the wall.
Get out of the way, he's charging up his laser eyes. Kill the sun.
It crackled. Sweetie Belle shrunk to the ground and covered her eyes as the loud humming became louder and louder, just as hoofsteps did, and the young filly broke down into tears. She could feel something in front of her, with malicious intent, ready to strike her down, and there was nothing she could do. This should be Chase.
Oh crap! I forgot I was actually playing another character. I was actually playing a character. Sweetie Belle?
A familiar voice cried out. The terrorized filly poked an eye above her foreleg and looked up to see that she was in the castle. The fuck was that? But it was different and full of color rather than blue and gray of a dark night.
That was a motorcycle, by the way.
The lavender alicorn rushed to her and picked her up, sizing her physique. She was horrified at what she was seeing.
Crap. What happened to you? You're incredibly hurt and you're mean. You were right next to me, and then I heard you saying you found something. Next thing I know, you're gone. Poof!
Twilight gestured with her right foreleg.
I searched everywhere for you, and even asked the others to help. Where did you go?
Sweetie Belle burst into tears and hugged Twilight in a vice. She was vibrating so much that Twilight thought her head was going to come off.
Why are you hurt like this? You look like you went through a battlefield.
Well, funny you should mention. The alicorn looked worried.
Did you hurt yourself or with something sharp? Or was it a monster in the forest?
Not a monster.
Yes, it was.
Sweetie hiccuped through her tears.
That's my imitation of a hiccup.
Fucking beautiful.
I mean, what is it, sweetie? You could tell me. That's hopefully the last time I'll ever call Wizzy sweetie.
Aww. I was hoping that he'd keep doing it after this fic.
It's okay, baby.
See, Ross keeps doing that. Why can't you keep it up, Chase?
I'm not Ross.
Trees.
Wait, they were tree monsters. Come on.
She exploded in tears and hugged Twilight.
Oh, she did explode.
Confusing the alicorn.
Well, I guess this expedition is over.
The alicorn sighed and scratched her neck.
Let's go back home. We need to get you checked before I can see whatever it was that did this to you.
Twilight looked around to see the best and quickest way to take Sweetie to the hospital.
I could get us through every three.
No!
Sweetie bellowed.
No, not again. Please, Twilight. Take me back to Rarity.
I counted. That was 17 O's.
Twilight sighed and looked at Sweetie Belle's shaking form with concern.
Well, I can always try flying us above it.
But what about the clouds, Twilight? They move all on their own. What if they get in your way?
I'm guessing there's a reference to the show.
Yes, ish. The clouds in the Everfree Forest move all on their own, which is spooky scary because ponies move clouds in Equestria.
Ah.
Let's face it, if cars started fucking moving, you would be fucking on their own. You would be terrified as well.
They're robot clouds.
We're on our way there with Elon Musk.
Oh my god. We've got to stop him.
Don't worry, I have a plan.
She hugged Sweetie Belle close to her chest and smiled.
Yeah, I'm obviously a professional.
Yes, you are.
It's okay. We're going home.
I'm going home, the alicorn cooed. Sweetie Belle hung onto Twilight's chest for dear life and took only a minute to glance down at the forest from their altitude. The entirety of the forest looked nothing like what she had just traveled through. It was lush and full of colors and life. The filly squeezed, and some rainbow powder shot out of her nose, startling Twilight briefly.
Oh.
She chuckled, trying to lighten the mood.
I see you stumbled upon one of those weird mushrooms. They're funny, aren't they? It's a shame the powder doesn't do much, though.
Twilight sighed.
Perhaps we'll discover it another day. Okay, sweetie? Oh, sorry, Lily.
Gotta get one more in there. The end.
I did, right?
Oh my god. So wait, the mushroom that she tried to get because she thought it would be a good ingredient. She's like, nah, that's not a good ingredient. No, you went through all that for nothing.
Haha. Hypothetically. Oh man, did Sweetie Belle just do drugs or what?
Was that what she was saying? I'm pretty sure she was just saying that the mushroom that she went to pick up for Applejack's recipes or whatever. She was like, no, that doesn't actually do anything. We don't need it.
Guys, this isn't real, is it? Sweetie Belle would never do drugs. I'm literally shaking right now. Someone please tell me this isn't real.
You're just shaking because of the spooky story.
I am sitting in the dark, and I will admit, it did get like 200% spookier when I turned off the lights.
Ooh.
But it was already at 0% spooky, so like...
Yeah. I see. So that was Eyes in the Trees, Bodies in the Leaves, sick raps by my boy the Psychopath over here.
Oh, that's his name?
Yeah, it's called the Psychopath. He's called the Psychopath. Or maybe she, I don't know.
They.
Ooh, it was published on Halloween of 2016.
No, it wasn't. It was actually published on the 30th.
No, I'm reading Halloween, October 31st.
I'm reading the 30th of October 2016. What a mystery.
Ross. Ooh,
I don't know what you guys are reading, but I'm reading
mystery.
Eyes in the Trees, Bodies in the Leaves.
Yes, well, what did we all think of it?
Yeah, it says October 31st,
That's
2016.
Yeah, Alan's liberal.
I will show you what I see. But before I do that, what did we think of it, everybody?
I thought it was well written. I think that this person is definitely good at describing horror. Reminds me of horror stories I've read. You know, like professional ones.
Interesting. Chase?
I'm not a big fan fiction person.
And yet
So
you're
I can't
just
really
begging to come on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I was begging to come on the podcast because I'm just chasing the clout, Ross, okay?
Fair
I
point.
need this
Clout
to
chaser?
boost my career. But yeah, I mean, I just wish that the monsters had more unique dialogue. That's my only gripe.
We gave you the chance to be Sweetie Belle.
Oh yeah, but I didn't want to. So. It's not my fault that Sweetie's the worst character in MLP. Everyone knows it.
You're not wrong, I guess. But, well, no, you are wrong because Silver Spoon exists.
Was I spot on?
No, Sweetie Belle's like awesome. But I rather enjoyed it. It reminds me of this one creepypasta that I read where some dude's on walk to heaven and he's surrounded by wood, like trees and stuff like that. And then, oh no, wait, it was Dante's Inferno no, I'm kidding. And then he turns into a tree and he's like, oh my God, it's not heaven, it's hell. Trees. So yeah, what is that? It's like, isn't that like the 6th or 7th circle of hell in Dante's Inferno? The tree one? I can't remember.
I never read that.
Well, what are you? What sin did he have to commit to get into that?
I can't remember. I think it was a pretty bad one though.
So I remember that the only level in Dante's Inferno, I believe it was the 7th, was people who committed suicide. They weren't allowed to keep. They're the only people in Dante's Inferno who weren't allowed to keep their human form in hell, because their human form was a gift from God, and they rejected it when they killed themselves. So
what? Man,
that's dark.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Dante's Inferno, great read. Go read it. You can skip the other two though. I think they were just kind of, they were
What do you mean the other two? I thought there was only 2 parts. Dante's Inferno and whatever that.
No, I believe there are 3. There's the hell one. There's the middle tier one, I guess, and then there's the heaven one, or something like that. Go watch Overly Sarcastic Productions on all those if anyone in the audience or even in this call is curious.
Oh man, normally Ross says like, go read the story that we were just reading. Please give them a like or whatnot. But no, he just hates this one so much that he's promoting Dante's Inferno.
I was just about to.
Yeah,
I just looked it up. So apparently the Divine Comedy consists of 3 portions. So
comedy.
Hilarious. I've never seen anything funnier. Besides, of course, Pickle Rick. I mean,
oh man, funniest shit I've ever seen. So everyone, all the little children out there, go into the description, read it for yourself. Maybe this was just too wacky for your little minds, and you need to just read it on your own to really get a good spook out of it. If I'm being honest, reading things doesn't scare me in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
that scares me.
I don't know if it's because of My Little Pony or whatnot or whatever, but none of these stories have scared me yet. Now, the scariest thing about one of these stories was scribbles, and like the concept of just like being erased from history. I guess that's scary, but
that terrifies the shit out of me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much in the story, but poor person that happened to. If you haven't read Scribbles, go read it or listen to our episode. But yeah, at the very least, if you did just listen to it, could you at least go into the description and like it, guys? Like, come on. Here, I'll start. I'll give it a like. I'm the 45th like. Now, once this goes up, I expect in a week that to be at least 100 likes. So you all better go over there and give it a like. Oh my
God.
Ross,
you expect this to get that many views?
I expect you to dance.
Well, it's not even just getting that many views. This is the end of the video. He expects that many people to sit till the end.
Oh, come on. They all if you made it this far, write down in the comments of the YouTube portion of the YouTube version, Pickle Rick, baby.
I think that wraps everything up.
That honestly should. So thank you, Chase, for joining us on this episode. Where can the fine folks find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find me at youtube.com/heypoopnugget. And if you want to support me on Patreon, that's patreon.com/PewDiePie. And yeah, that's about it.
Does PewDiePie
PewDiePie doesn't have a Patreon, does he?
Is he? I don't even...
I doubt he'd put up a Patreon. He does not need a Patreon.
Oh, I should have asked what all of our theories were. Oh, well.
It's not over, is it?
PewDiePie is a Nazi.
It's not over, but do we really want to...
That's the first result.
Well, we could always go to the Psychopaths Patreon. Patreon.com/World of Illogic.
Oh, it's H-Bomber, guys.
Oh, classic H-Bomber guy. You know what? Let's just end this.
Guess that's it.
End it all. Go follow me or something. Just Ross Pitt. I'm usually the only person you'll ever find with that name. And go Wizzy Puff.
Make sure you use 2 T's.
No, it's not 2 T's. You shut your goddamn whore mouth.
Jeez. Took that very personally.
I'm sorry. I'm just so sick of those 2 T's.
Alright, so we ending?
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
So you count down for that, or?
Yeah.
Alright, see ya, people.
Wizzy, where's the classic bye?
Bye!
I completely forgot. I was going to yell out, "Welcome to the official Slam Ball podcast, everyone."
Damn it.
Can we, redo this? It's completely restart.
We can edit that in.
Let's just edit that in. Just say that. Just say that.
Welcome, everybody, to the official Slam Ball podcast. This is my host. Crap.